Record and record.
Wow.
We made it today.
Oh my goodness. Let me just make sure everything. All right.
Everything is good. Can you hear that?
It's almost like don't touch anything.
Don't touch the table. Keep your hands and feet away from the
Ceremony seis tabos, por favor.
Oh my gosh. Yes, sorry.
And then I kicked the table.
The table and it's all with the crap. Okay. So it's, a 10 o'clock curfew for us, but we're still figuring things out and how to, the cameras
we're here.
And the microphones.
If you could actually see everything, maybe I'll take a picture of this towards the end and post it.
Yeah.
But what's up, insurance brother from another mother?
It's good to see you again. Another week. Insurance bros.
You know what? Consistency is key to all of this stuff. This is key. Week number 2.
Week number 2 of many.
And I hope that people enjoyed the first one. I think we covered a lot of
covered a lot of ground on one thing.
Yeah.
But, I figured we'd just have a nice chat, like you said, about different things in insurance.
Yeah.
And hopefully we can get some people in here to interview about their businesses. And
I think that is going to be a real positive approach. I love interviewing business owners. Casey's Corner was founded on interviewing business owners. I used to interview small business owners in the park with an iPad.
In the park?
Yeah, and it really...
in a van down by the river.
Almost. But it's evolved into all of this, so I'm very blessed with that. And then launching this. So, Voss, let's talk about insurance.
We're gonna just dive into it
in the senior space.
So, I want to ask you about liability insurance for assisted livings, because that comes up a lot in the senior healthcare group. And, every year people are reviewing, but every year it seems like on the anniversary date of when they got it, people are reviewing. So it's not like, is there a specific time to like an open enrollment for that, like in Medicare, or is it just...
It's not necessarily an open enrollment. So what we would call that is the effective date. So if you've got an effective date of, let's say, 4/15, you want to make sure that you're getting in on that probably 45 days before. And the only reason that I say that is there's a lot of insurance companies that will come and go into the space, whether you're adult companion, senior, like home health, private care, assisted living. There's a lot of shuffling that's going on, but there's still, the market is about this big.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of limitations when it comes to who you can actually write that insurance with. And so I have a few different programs that I like to access. That can be an Arizona pool. I've got an outfit out of California that I've really come on strong with. They've got great rates. And then we've got our standard excess and surplus markets. Now, all of those involve a certain level of the application process. Usually you're going to need a supplemental application, which really dives down into the details of the risk. How many people do you have at any given time? What are the shifts like? Who's there? What's the reporting like? Go ahead.
Like you said, so like home health, hospice, non-medical, home care companies, the assisted living, homes, and the communities. So basically people working in healthcare in some fashion, in a sense. But so the effective date, it's the date that they start
that you're gonna start the insurance. So your effective date will be April 10th, and it will run for 1 year, and it will be April 10th, 2024 through April 10th, 2025.
Let me ask you a question. Can you change mid-year?
Yes and no. That's a really good question. So you can, but in a lot of cases, an insurance company, because you're dealing with the excess and surplus, which is the Wild West. When you start to shuffle, you can run into some problems. The biggest problem being that a lot of them will say you can't have a flat cancellation, meaning that you have to at least have paid 25% of the premium.
You got to buy out your contract
essentially
to change mid-year.
Essentially,
wow.
Yes. And so it's highly encouraged. Where personal insurance with like an auto policy or even a home policy, you can cancel those any given day of the week and replace it with whatever.
Right.
It's not so much like that in the commercial space, especially in this commercial space of healthcare. So you have to adhere to at least coming to the 25% of minimum premium. And here's the good part, is that we're in a market right now to where you have to put 20% down anyway.
Oh, okay.
So
you're pretty much there.
Yeah, you're pretty much there. So if you make that down payment and then one monthly payment, then you've hit those thresholds and you control the policy. You can cancel a policy whenever you'd like. You own that policy, but you have to read the fine print. The fine print usually says 25% minimum and no flat cancellation.
Okay, so it's always good to talk to somebody to make sure.
Absolutely.
Before you change plans, make sure you're not going to get hit with an extra bill.
Correct. So there's 3 forms of liability that you always want to make sure, and then a couple like ancillary ones.
Yeah.
So in this space, you're always going to want to have your general liability. That's going to be your standard slip and fall. Somebody walks onto the property, they fall, hit their head. That's general liability. Mm-hmm. What it also includes, and this is important, whether you're renting that space, whether you own the house, you don't own the house. If you're renting that space, there's a portion in there that says properties leased or rented by you. There is coverage for that. So if you, let's say, flush a diaper or ding a wall, you can file a claim against that.
Oh.
You read the fine print again.
Right.
Flood and sewer water is a little bit different, but in a case of a fire, you'd be covered for that under the general liability. Another important aspect, so that's general liability, and another important aspect of that is your professional liability. In a lot of cases, and especially with the senior healthcare space, is the words that a professional is using can be worse than the crack in the sidewalk. So you have to be able to protect your words. In a lot of cases,
it covers the way you talk to people.
Not necessarily the way you talk to people, but
what you say,
but the advice you're giving.
Oh wow!
So if I have what's called errors in omission for insurance, right? Every insurance professional should have errors in omission, just in case I forget something and say something wrong. A lawyer would call it errors in omission. A doctor would call it malpractice. It's all cut from the same cloth.
Yeah.
But it's essentially protecting your business from any words that you're giving. So if you said, hey, Mrs. Jones, you're supposed to do this, this, and this, and Mrs. Jones' grandson came back and says, my Nana told me this, you're looking at a possible claim situation. You're protected by that professional liability.
Okay, so professional liability and general liability.
Professional liability, general liability. Then the endorsements come in. You're going to have bed sores. You're going to have elopement. Somebody walks out of the house. You're also going to have fall hazard. So your fall hazard should be in there. That's going to be probably one of the biggest aspects of that, whether someone is taking a shower, walking through the living room, whatever the case is, that fall hazard is definitely a risk.
Is that its own?
It's its own endorsement.
So it's not the general, it's not the professional, it's its own.
Yes. The general liability is going to protect the public. Your fall hazard is going to protect the inside.
Okay.
The patients.
Patients.
Yes. And then the biggest topic right now, I would say, as far as endorsement goes, is what we call SAM, sexual abuse and molestation. Unfortunately, we live in a world that
crazy new world.
Those types of things happen. I've seen those claims. I think we've probably all seen those claims. They're horrible.
Yeah.
But we live in a world to where you have to protect yourself from that. And quite frankly, a lot of different programs, Access, Altix, even the new United Healthcare, there's certain minimum thresholds that they're going to want to see.
Yeah.
And those are all things that we can help deliver to our clients to make sure that the paperwork's filled out effectively. They're always going to want a certificate of insurance. They're always going to want have that detailed, and a lot of times they're going to have very, very specific language that they want put in there.
Yeah. So Okay, so then you need to get all those. Is that one the endorsement? That's the name of the insurance?
No, the endorsement is like
Like a rider?
It's a rider
To the other
essentially.
ones.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So can you pick that rider from other companies, or do you have to get it through the company you're getting the general?
In some cases you can, but in this world, in the general liability world, it's all included within one thing. So when you get your policy, or at least the quote, it should have a list of all the endorsements. So it's important to understand what's included, but it's also important to understand what's not included. So you have to read the exclusions as well.
Right.
And the exclusions might be like no juggling chemicals, like any random thing, right? If you do this, we are off the hook. So
it's good to
said this time and time
those
again.
non-covered
Read the exclusions, what's included and what's not included. Remember, insurance companies are for profit.
Right.
They are not charities. They are not here.
No.
Boy, I hope I don't get in trouble for this. An insurance company is not on your side. You're not in good hands, and that lady in the blue apron hates you. They have shareholders to answer for.
Well, they need to make money too.
Absolutely.
And if they have to pay a claim,
They're not in the business of paying claims. Insurance is an exchange of a small amount of money for a large amount of money. And in fact, in this space, insurance companies don't even I call them my clients. I call them the insured. When I'm having a conversation with a carrier, I say the insured said this, the insured needs this. The insurance company calls them investors. What does the investor, how long has the investor been in this business? Can we see the investor's resume? Because they look at it as an investment. They don't want to pay $100,000, $200 million claim.
Right.
Is it there? Sure. But if you use it, they're going to probably cancel you.
right. So then when you're getting insurance, you need to look at all the things you're gonna use. So it's good to really dive deep into what's covered, what's not covered, to make sure you're covered.
Absolutely. So,
But then if you file claims, claims come up, right? Mm-hmm. If you file claims, does it increase your insurance? Does it increase everybody's?
there's a possibility. So insurance is a risk pool where they're spreading the money out. So they might say, okay, in Phoenix, we're going to have 100 homes. And of that 100 homes, we've got this pool of money, and we expect to have this amount of loss. The insurance company is expecting some amount of loss that comes out of it.
Type stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. In a life insurance situation, insurance company can tell you within 90 days of when you're going to die.
Yeah, they're good on that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
they got you paid.
Yeah, absolutely. Your height, your weight, where you live, your lifestyle. We're going to take a blood test. You will die April 3rd, 2000, whatever.
Yeah, they're like, we're going to insure you to this mark. And
by the way, happy late birthday.
oh, thank you.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, it looks good on you.
Well, this is what 46 looks like.
This
just
is
so
what
you know.
This is what 46 looks
This is
like,
what
man.
46
yeah,
looks like.
Insurance bros.
Bald, the beard, a
Man,
little gray. Yeah,
you know what? This
and
is
not
called
in the best of shape,
it's called experience.
the dad bod. This is
And the
the
dad
older
bod.
version of the dad bod.
I love it.
Those 20-something guys, I don't know what that is. but
Yeah,
yeah.
I haven't done a sit-up since 1998.
You know what? I do rubber band pull down sit ups in my home gym.
Okay.
But like an actual sit up on the ground, there's no way. I can barely get off the couch by myself. I'm like, no.
So another important aspect. So we covered general liability, professional liability,
Yeah.
all the endorsements. Another important aspect of it, and there's two other areas that we can cover. One's a little less important, work comp, which work comp is required. It's a state risk pool for anybody that has a W-2 employee.
W-2 employees.
W-2 employees.
Okay.
What I have noticed in this world in the senior healthcare world, is that a lot of them are operating in a 1099 capacity. So even in the assisted living world, the private healthcare or the private care house is bringing in a separate company, Nancy's Home Healthcare.
Right.
And they're operating that way. But if you do have a W-2 employee, and some Some homes do.
Some do.
And there's different reasons for it. They might want to make sure that those people are taken care of as well.
Well, you lock in an employee that's going to be there full time every day you need them.
Absolutely. And the best way to grow your business in an employee situation is employee benefits, but that's a totally different topic.
And we're going to talk on that one probably in a couple of weeks. But employee benefits, group benefits, things like that. Group
benefits, absolutely. Even if it's those volunteer benefits, all the little stuff that's at the bottom of the paycheck that costs a few cents, those can make all the difference in the world.
Yeah, I mean, if you offer it, it's great.
Yeah, absolutely. So the other aspect of this is then the property. So I talked a little bit about if you're renting the house.
Oh, yeah, property insurance.
What that looks like for the business owner. So in a lot of cases, and there's different philosophies out there. In fact, we should probably talk to a few about how, in a legal sense of how they're setting up, I own this house, I operate the business, but how do I create a level of separation? Right. The quickest and easiest, and I'm not a lawyer, but the quickest and easiest is create that trust, create that LLC, and that wall, that's 1 degree of separation. So in case you do have a claim situation, you're not exposing your personal assets to that.
Well, we're going to have to bring a lawyer on for that one.
Yeah, I've got a few in mind. I'm thinking like maybe Jeremy. He does a lot of this.
Jeremy's wife, Jennifer Wasserman. Yes, and she would be great to bring on.
Jeremy as well. I think that they can provide a lot of good working knowledge about that.
Jeremy does a lot of some trust work too. So
yeah, absolutely. And what he's doing is the actual way I feel like it should be done. That's that level of protection. So the general liability is going to more than likely have damages to places you rent or lease. That's usually going to only be a fire situation. Fire meaning like burning down, right?
Right.
In a lot of cases, it's not going to cover like a water leak. Different scenarios will.
So you just really got to pay attention.
You really got to pay
the
exclusions.
The exclusion rule.
Yep.
If you think you're going to have a flood, which I mean, who thinks about that?
Right.
But you want to make sure you're covered.
And then the biggest aspect of this as well is that, in my experience, a personal policy from like a State Farm or an Allstate or a Progressive will not be sufficient enough to cover a private care assisted living home. Now, I think that there are some that will cover up to like 5 patients, but if you have a 10 patient home, that is going to be run as a business. And even though it is a private residence in a neighborhood, essentially, it's a business. And if you have one of those personal lines carriers and you have a claim, that adjuster is going to walk in there and say, what's this? Who are all these people? Are you running a business here? Nope. We're done. We're not going to honor your claim. And so in that scenario, you have to shift it into a commercial policy. It has to be classified as a nursing home or assisted care living home. And then that takes care of everything else in that claim situation.
I'm going to touch something on this one. So when we started the funeral home, we got a van to help us out. And we just ran it through our insurance.
Cool. Yeah.
Didn't even think about it. My buddy Dwayne's a PNC guy, but he's back in North Carolina. Sure. So I kind of touched base with him on some things, but I didn't even think about it. And our driver went out to pick up somebody, and then he got rear-ended. Right. So then we filed the claim to the insurance company. They're like, "Well, you were using it for work," and we had full coverage on it.
Yeah.
Full coverage because it's just better to be safe and they wouldn't cover any of the damages.
Yep.
They're like, that's on you because you used it for something else. And they showed us the exclusions.
Yep.
I'm like, so then we switched everything over to business insurance.
Yep.
To make sure that we're covered for whatever happens. It costs more than the other one, but at this point, we could have had a new van if we would have done it the right way.
So,
but I didn't know, and people don't know going in. So it's just like we have to help people educate.
Yeah, and much like that property insurance, auto insurance has to be classified the correct way as well. So, and there's a lot of exclusions in there about, are you carrying individuals, like whether that's like a black car service, or are you driving a patient from here to there.
Right.
As soon as you put somebody in the vehicle that, you know what?
Is that you?
It is. Hold on. That's my social media post to remind me to post online.
So we're going to take a quick second while we adjust the sounds in the background of oceans and waves. And Case, and we're back.
Don't die. Don't die.
Still learning.
Okay, so there's a lot of different laws about, or insurance laws about carrying people, right? So
carrying people.
You have to have it classified. If I own a private care assisted living home and I'm dropping off a patient to the doctor, if I don't have it on a commercial insurance policy and
Something happens.
and don't have it classified under like, this is what we're doing,
Right.
and you get into an accident, they are not going to cover that. Progressive will not cover that. State Farm, whoever the carrier is, they will not cover that, and you leave yourself so wide open and exposed because they're going to sue the crap out of you.
Right.
Now, there's also a certain aspect of general liability where you can use your car for incidentals, going to the bank, post office, those types of things, called hired and non-owned auto.
Oh.
That
good
can
to
be
know.
used for the owner, the employee. If you've got an employee and you say, hey, would you run to the bank real quick and make this deposit?
That's okay.
Yes, as long as you have that endorsement of hired and non-owned auto, then they can do that. It's like incidental driving.
Okay. It's good to know.
Good to know. So you have to have it categorized. It kind of, I guess, an insurance joke might be like when you're picking someone up in a funeral situation.
Right. Yeah.
Is that body covered?
So they count it as a passenger.
Interesting.
So they counted it as you had a passenger in your car and you were transporting them to another location.
Wow.
Yeah. And that's what it was. So since it was a business thing, it was a business, the transporter was driving it, and there was a passenger there. They counted that as a passenger.
Wow.
And it's, I know it's a deceased, but they still counted it.
Interesting.
So like you said, any way they can get out of paying, they will.
Absolutely.
So you always got to make sure you're covered. So now we're covered. Now it says it in there. And a lot of these things are learning lessons. Like you do it one time, you mess up, you figure it out, you make the correction and you go on. We made the correction. Now we're covered. If that happens again, we're covered.
Yeah.
Because the passengers for the business are covered.
Okay.
But yeah, life is full of learning lessons. I mean, growing up, I took the belts quite a bit. Learning those lessons.
I think, you know what? That's why we're insurance bros, because we learn, right?
Right.
You only got to do that once.
Only need, once or twice, whatever. But yeah, once.
So I guess to wrap this all up and really understand how this becomes a package deal. So your general liability with your professional liability, those levels are usually set. And for state compliance, for access, Altix, any type of program, you're looking at 1 million, 3 million. So that 1 million is per occurrence. So you can have a $1 million loss, but that 3 is your aggregate. So you can have up to 3 $1 million losses over the course of the year.
Yeah.
Okay. Or $1 million loss. Right.
Yeah.
Whatever those lines are set at. Usually the damages rented is $100,000. Sometimes you can have it raised. You can pick and choose on your sexual molestation and abuse. Now, it's kind of side note, the molestation and abuse coverage, that doesn't only just include physical touching. It could include any form of abuse. That could be verbal abuse. It could be elder abuse. those types of things unfortunately happen in this world.
Yes.
So that is all covered. We talked about the auto, and if you want to add a passenger, work comp, and how you can bring this all together to really truly protect yourself. I mean, my motto is protecting your prosperity.
Yeah.
Is create that trust in that LLC, and we've got contacts for that, but create that separation, but then wrap it all together in an umbrella policy. And that umbrella policy will if you were to exceed your limits in any one of those coverages, it kicks in from $1 on there. So if you exceeded $3 million in losses over that year, and you've got another $1 million, that will kick in past $3 million in one.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, so wrap it all together. Make sure you get the
tight little bow.
Right, the nice tight little bow of insurance. But so that's good. Thanks for letting us know about all that, and make sure that it's always good to work with somebody and
absolutely
and go through everything. And then we'll touch base on a few of those other things now that we've kind of gotten started.
So I think that we've really come to settle on Insurance Bros.
Insurance Bros. So I think we're gonna stick with the name.
Yeah,
Insurance Bros.
Even though you said there is an Insurance Bro already?
No.
Just the domain of Insurance Bros.
So somebody has insurancebros.com.
But now we're insurancebros.net.
We're insurancebros.net.
I like that.
Org, whichever one.
Whichever way we go here.
Yeah. So Insurance Bros. One of those two. net insurancebros.net and org is what we're going to be.
And I think an important aspect of this as we grow and evolve with the podcast and the sharing of information, interviewing. If you want to be interviewed, please reach out to either one of us. Put a comment on here. But then also taking questions. If you don't want to be featured, submit a question.
Submit questions, and we'll answer questions all day long.
Yeah, absolutely. I love it. I would say that, and I think you would agree with me, Voss, is that 95% of my job as an insurance professional is education. Is education.
The Arizona Medicare Insurance Solutions phone rings quite a bit, and it's a lot of just general questions about their Medicare or Medicaid, or I need a card, or does this cover that, or what can I do? So a lot of questions come in. And we'll review some of those questions along the way. But if you have questions, let us know, and we'll answer those questions here. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we'll get that out. And then if you want to join and have an interview session, that's good. And
I think all aspects, anything that touches the senior world, and I think that there's so many different aspects of business that do. Whether you're servicing the house, whether you're servicing the people. It could be just top of my head, you could be a handyman.
Could be, And that does help out because I use handyman. For projects. So anything. If you're seeing this and you want to, help out and
advertise your business,
let us know. And then if you want to join the team, the Insurance Bros team, as an insurance agent, by all means, reach out. We're always looking for part-time people or
always looking to grow. Always
help out with all the people that we help out with.
Awesome. Well, I think this is a pretty good pretty good way.
That's good. Down two down.
Leave me with something like, doesn't have to be insurance related, but leave me with some words of wisdom.
Words of wisdom.
Don't eat yellow snow.
Don't eat the yellow snow. I put there was a guy, Aaron Tipton, that said you have to stand for something or you'll fall for anything.
Oh, I like that. Yeah.
So I put that quote on a lot of the things I do because you kind of have to, stand for what you believe in, and let people know, and don't back down. So I try to help out where I can, and anybody can help out where they can with any situation. So that words of wisdom. There you go.
I love it. I love it. I love it. It borders let your enemy destroy themselves. Voss.
That's right. All right. Well,
Insurance Bro.
Insurance Bros.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Have a good one. Bye,
Have a
guys.
great day.